Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Foster Care Warrior. It's me, Shelly Nicole, your host. I'm so excited to be here tonight. I know that I already have guests. Oh, totally just checking. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Foster Care Warrior. I am your host, Shelly Nicole. I am so excited to have you here. I know my producer, Rob, told me that Jennifer is here. And who else? Jennifer Walsh, right? Christian Wilson. Watcher. Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in. So excited to have you here and hope you have some questions or comments for our guest. But I'm just always so excited to share Thursdays with you and introduce you to new and amazing people and just help everybody to learn what it's about to be in foster care, how to help the foster care community, educate, and just come together in love. And tonight we have a super awesome, amazing guest. But before we get to him and before I introduce him, I always want to start by telling you guys how super important it is to do several things in order for us to reach as many people as possible. I need you to share. If you could also invite friends, you can go into the Project Foster Care page and invite friends to join us and share. And then super important, if you can go to the YouTube channel, super easy to do. You can go to projectfostercare.com and just click on the YouTube link and subscribe. And we really need to get to 1,000 subscribers in order to start reaching people and get our own channel that would be YouTube/Project Foster Care. So those are all ways that you guys can help right now, immediately. I do want to tell you that we have our brand new, super amazing website coming up this weekend. It should be done with a daily newspaper. Melanie Donnelly Everett, hi. Glad you're here. So be looking for that for the daily paper. But yeah, so start checking over at projectfostercare.com for the super amazing new website. So super excited. Okay, on to our guest. So I have this amazing, I say young man, he's younger than me, Matthew Dowdy, who reached out to me, a little while ago. He came into my foster parent support group and shocked everybody in there by thanking us all for being foster parents and telling us his story. And I had to have him here today. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Matthew Dowdy. Hi, Matthew.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. You have such a story. So many different twists, and it's so unique. It's not one I've ever heard before. We are going to start by telling people really your journey. And we're going to start from when you were a young man living with mom.
Okay.
And that was kind of really where it all started. And that's your first real trauma and real memory of kind of what life had for you. Would you mind sharing with us what happened that fateful day with your mom?
Sure. So my mom had left a lighter out on the end table and went to take a nap. And like any 5-year-old kid, I think, would do if they seen the lighter at eye level, they would probably grab it. And what does this do? And so I played with it. And eventually I took it to the floor and started a small hole in the carpet on fire that was the size of a cereal bowl. I put it out. I rearranged the furniture because I didn't want her to find out. Remember, I'm a 5-year-old. All my weight into the back of the couch to move it.
Wow.
And when she woke up, she decided, after making some phone calls and throwing me into a bedroom, that the best punishment was to burn me. And she started a fire in the garage and drugged me out there physically against my will and forced my hand over the backside of my hand over the fire, and that's why I have tattoos there to cover the scars.
And Matthew, you suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns.
Correct. Yep.
Go on.
And I was put into a room after we got back from the doctor, and that weekend coming up was my dad's weekend. And I remember the incident like it was yesterday. And I also remember getting into that car with my dad. And before I left, my mom said, if I say anything, I'll regret it. And I went into that car, and my dad normally is like, hey, buddy, happy to see me. And he was. And he could tell I was down, and he said, what's wrong, buddy? And instantly, I felt safe enough because I said to him, if I have to spend another day with that bee, I'm going to kill myself.
Oh my.
And I pulled my hand out of my sleeve and showed my dad my wrapped hand. And I never went back after that. And
So your daddy protected you?
Yep. He picked me up. We would go through a 2-year court battle with a lot of evaluations, a lot of things back and forth, a lot of the things that foster parents deal with on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I was in that system watching my parents fight back and forth, argue on the phone, call each other names. And my mom, when I lived with my dad, my mom would call and say, I'm coming to get you for the weekend. I would pack my stuff and I would sit on the curb, and I'd wait sometimes 2 hours after the time she said she'd be there, and she'd never show. She'd never call back. Months and years went on of this kind of mental abuse and games back and forth, well, mainly coming from my mom, but back and forth, they had their parts. And when I became a young teenager, I had so much anger, resentment, and feelings towards the entire situation that I decided running away was going to be the best answer. My dad said that I needed to get a job and start helping with bills, and I figured if I had to live under his rules and pay bills, I'd live by my own.
And so you ran away and were being defiant.
Yep. And it's one of them things that, when I ran away, I ended up getting into foster care. I went to some juvenile group homes. I ran away from one. I ran away from foster care. And the biggest thing with that is in that time, I was so angry and so hurt, more in my teens, because all them years had gone by and she didn't bother to come into my life and apologize. She didn't bother to try and make an effort or be a mom. So my dad's mom, my grandma, you hear these stories all the time. Grandma was my mom.
Super common, Matthew, in the foster care world, that these children go live with the grandparents. There's a whole movement right now of grandparents raising their grandchildren, starting over. Yep.
And so, my grandma raised me alongside my dad as a single parent. I went into this dark world. I went into a couple foster homes, and I remember thinking, I was referred, a kid doesn't need to be referred to as the foster child. These kids.
Can we talk about that, Matthew? Let's talk about that right there. Say that again. Say that again. What does that feel like? This is something I'm trying to really educate foster parents in particular. But what does that feel like when someone constantly refers to you as the foster kid?
I already know I'm the foster kid because I'm in your home. I see you, I see your family, and I'm a guest. You've invited me in. I don't need a label. I just need love. And that's what's helped me, is the families who have opened their doors, taken time off of their jobs, spent their own money, took time to understand me and break the chain that so many kids are in and fall victim to. It's
And
a
Matthew,
cycle.
you and I were, it is a cycle, and you and I were talking before we went live. And one thing we were talking about, and that I thought was so, so important. So a lot of us foster parents, and a lot of the foster parents tuning in right now, they'll get children that aren't really with them for very long, and their heart breaks when they leave, and they get discouraged, and they feel like, gosh, I really didn't make a difference. What difference did it really make? What kind of an impact could I really have had? They weren't here that long. But you really weren't that long in, you were in a handful of foster homes, one for, I think you said, a little over a year. But you said each one of those foster homes really did instill things in you and really did make a difference. Could you share that with us?
Opening their homes and saying, I'll take them, when my social worker was calling foster homes to see if there was availability and who could do it, the people who said, I'll take them, they poured love, affection, patience, understanding. There was trust. Every home I went to, I felt welcomed as a guest in their family. And every one of them tried their best to make me a part of their family. The problem that I had was, and this is what I think, honestly, this is where I think a lot of kids are, but it's hard to understand. These kids come from traumatic situations. These kids you're fostering, it doesn't matter why you get them, they've experienced trauma. I've experienced trauma because my dad brought me in one time and said, you know what? He's running away. He's not going to school. I have to go to work. Aside from chaining him up or abuse, I don't know where else to turn. I love my kid, and he was in tears, and I'm in the chair next to him. And okay, that incident right by itself, my dad walking out of that room and down that hallway, it just tore me up. I don't know.
It had to be so hard, Matthew.
So these people that take me, they try to just make me a part of their family. But as I sit there numb, yeah, answer questions short, and I just get, I had no way as a teenager to let them feelings out. I didn't feel like I had the right avenue or the right release. And that's when I turned, after running away and stuff, to trying to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol and hanging with friends, because I didn't want to feel the pain anymore. I wanted to just let it go.
How old were you when you started doing drugs and drinking and all
14,
of that?
14,
How old? 14?
14. Yep.
And that numbed you.
Yeah.
And that's another, I know you have statistics that you were going to share with us. Do you have statistics on that with you about the drugs, alcohol, and whatnot? Really quickly, Matthew, my co-producer, Sam, I cannot see the comments. It's too tiny. I don't know if we can enlarge it. I can't read the comments. There's people, or are you going to just let me know, Rob? I just want to make sure if anybody has anything to say to Matthew or ask. I don't want to, I'm old and I can't read the tiny writing. I'm sorry, I can't see it. So if you guys are asking questions, I just can't read it. So we will get to you, I promise. And I know Rob's on it, right? Jessica Tanner, where I'm here watching. Yay, hi, Jessica. I could barely read that, Rob. Matthew says hi, Jess. I think Rob's going to write something else. No? Okay, we're good. Matthew, I know you had statistics that you wanted to share. Would you mind sharing those with us?
Yeah, just briefly, one of the things I really think is eye-opening is in Minnesota, 185 kids per week enter the foster care system.
It's crazy, right?
Times that by 4 in a month. And in Minnesota, 4,370 kids were abused or neglected before entering foster care. So, I mean, there's another 1,500 a month that are award of the courts or the state, which they're just in big, units where they house them.
Yeah, the group homes, receiving centers.
Yep.
And I don't know if you have the statistics for Minnesota on the ages. The typical average age they're usually older children. Am I correct? Do you have those statistics?
I don't have them with me right now, no, but I did read something that it was between 10 to 14.
It's usually the older children, and they're very broken. And as you were saying, it's really hard for you to break through with them. And one thing you and I were talking about again, and something I felt was so important and so vital for anyone entering or thinking of becoming a foster care lawyer, foster parent, CASA, working with the kids, is to understand that these kids are in a very deep, dark place. And I know, Matthew, that's where you were. Super deep, dark place, didn't trust anyone, super angry, saw way too much from probably your birth, really. You just saw a lot of violence and fighting and tugging, and probably never felt like you were ever super important, except for I think your Grammy, and I think your dad did try, but you were just too angry.
Right.
But the one thing I had said, and you had agreed, is the only real way you can really reach any of these children is to be willing to sit in their darkness, which is no easy task. It's very difficult, very heavy, and very hard. But to sit with them in their dark.
Thank you.
Huh? Oh, Jessica, we love you, Matthew. Oh, I know, isn't he great, Jess? He is. We're so lucky to have Matthew tonight. But Matthew, wouldn't you say that's true? That was where you were, and in order to reach you, I mean, you have to come be with you, right? In the place that you are, meet you there. You can't just snap someone out of it.
That's a big part of it, honestly. I mean, I read the comments in the group every day. And
that's the foster parent support group, for anybody that doesn't know. If you want to be a part of that group, by the way, you guys just message me and I will add you. But go ahead, Matthew.
Yes, it's a great group, and that's where you find these people who, they communicate back and forth. And there's a lot of times I say, that was me. The biggest thing that I can say with this is you have to allow the kid to have an avenue to release their feelings. They have to feel safe. They have to be comfortable. There has to be some trust there that's earned. And for the younger ones, like under the teenage years, make the goals achievable at first. Don't set the bar too high, because what happens sometimes with bios and then you mix fosters, well, my bio kid doesn't act that way. No, you're right, but your bio kid hasn't been in that kid's shoes, and it's hard. It's a fine line, and I'm not an expert, but from my experience, if you can give the kid the right environment and it's consistency, and they have to know they're safe, because until you can prove that to them, you're just the next person in line. They don't know that and they can't express it, but that's really how.
Well, they're waiting for something to happen, right, Matthew? You're waiting for something to happen. And I love that you said what you just said. I want to go back to that for a second. These kids were not raised in your home, and they don't have the capacity to love, to feel, to do that your children do. They weren't given that. They don't know. So you cannot push your expectations of your children onto the foster children that come in, because they simply, truly do not know, and you really are setting them up for failure. And it will only make them feel less, I don't know, less welcome isn't the word, but less a part of
right.
family. So it's much like your own birth children are each very different, and you've learned them. You need to have the patience and love and care to learn your foster children as well. So I'm glad you brought that up, Matthew. Thank you so much for that, especially. That's really, really helpful. So Matthew, after your dad brought you into foster care and you were in the different foster care homes, and then clearly it wasn't going good, you're running away, drinking, doing drugs. I believe you said your drug of choice was what, speed?
Yes.
And what is speed exactly? Because we know there's cocaine and meth and
Yeah, it's
you know,
math. Yeah,
but,
both of them.
and the purpose of that, and Matthew, I'll let you touch on why you were doing that, but the purpose of that for a lot of these kids is it numbs them, right, Matt?
Yep. And I can explain a prime example of that, which is a big turning point in my life as well. I I got out of prison right away. You just get out of prison. Nobody wants to rent to you. It's hard to get a job. I fought and worked my way back with my dad's help and support network. And I relapsed and went back to drugs because things got too tough. And I kind of thought I just wasn't getting anywhere. And the thing that changed my whole entire path and re-altered my life was my grandma was my mom growing up. She was my biggest advocate. There were times that people in my family were telling my dad, you need to just give up and walk out. He's not going to get it. And my dad and my grandma refused. And thank God. She passed away. I got the call. I went to the wake. I was high. I didn't want to feel feelings. So I walked in there, and the woman I loved the most, that was the most important to me, I didn't shed one tear over her casket. Instead, I got into an altercation with a family member and I left. I went home and went to bed. 24 hours later, I woke up. Her program was on the table. Her handwritten wishes were that I was supposed to be her front right pallbearer. That's what she wrote. And I didn't show up to the funeral because I was bitter from the night before. So I had essentially disrespected the person I love the most for the last time. And that day, I cried for at least 2 days, and I hadn't cried in years. And my feelings and emotions were all over. And the fact I had one of two choices. I could turn my life around and go forward, trust in God, have faith, or I could go back to the easy route, go wherever that took me. But I decided, with a lot of help and support, to walk the 12 steps, work everything, start from the bottom and work my way back to where I am today. And it's a long journey and a hard road.
Matthew, we have Jessica here, and she says, amazing. I was in foster care only for my first 7 months. I can't read it, Rob. Oh, and then was adopted. Oh, there we go. We all have unique stories. I support you, Matthew. You are making a difference. Thank you for that. I really need to wear glasses next show, I think. I think that's gonna have to happen. That was very sweet. Thanks, you guys, for loving on Matthew like that. Jess, thank you. Everybody does have stories. You know what? If you want to share your story, contact me, but we'll talk about that later. So Matthew, your heart was broken. You let your grandma down, the one woman you loved so much.
I actually named my oldest daughter after her.
Which we're going to get there because we have a whole bunch of really cool stuff to share. But we want to get to where you finally, really, for lack of better words, you were just broken enough. Like you were just broken and you were at that fork in the road where you had a choice. And you touched on the fact that, you could trust God and go, trust in God and go that route or go the different route. I remember you saying to me, and I don't know that was mentioned, but your grandma just loved Jesus.
She's
right?
very, 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 very close and worked in the church every week brought me with. I'd help out. Just a very godly, loving woman.
So, Matthew, you chose the trust in God route. And I'm going to let you take over from there because you really, truly are a success story. You are someone that can really change the lives of so many foster children that are feeling lost. Really, anyone that's feeling lost, that's gone through anything. Jennifer Washer. Hi, Jen. How do you be in their dark place? Oh, how do you build their trust? Ah, good one, Jennifer. How do you be in their dark place and how do you build their trust? Let me touch on that for a second, Matthew, and then we're going to get into the rest of your story. So Jennifer, really, truly being in someone's darkness really means sitting with them, being with them, hearing them, holding their hand. When someone's been through trauma or they're going through grief or they're being gone through trauma or suffering from PTSD, you're really not going to have the capacity to understand what it is they're going through. You won't, because you didn't go through it. You're not them. You don't have their brain. But what you can do is just be with them. And slowly, as they see that you're with them, you're not going to leave them, that you're in it for the long haul, that you're not going to let go of them, that you're not going to give up on them. Slowly, they're going to start to trust you. And slowly, they're going to start to come out of their shell. They're going to want to talk to you. And little by little, and it could take a real long time of you sitting in that dark place, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
But one day, right, Matthew?
Yeah.
One day they're going to trust you. One day they're going to start inching toward that light. And it will be a magnificent day and probably one of the most beautiful experiences you'll ever be in. And you can reach me after the show, Jennifer, if you want more information. And I'm happy to help you more in that. But what a great, great question. Matthew, did you want to touch on that at all?
You pretty much said everything. You just got to be with them. You got to trust them. You got to, when they cry and when they have those avenues to release the feelings, that's what's most important, is that they're comfortable.
That's right.
I mean, it's all about that feeling welcome, feeling like it's okay to cry. It's okay to have feelings.
Oh, and tears, by the way, I want to say this to everybody, and then we'll get back, Matthew, to your story. Don't tell someone, don't cry. That's like the worst thing you could do. Tears to me are hugs. Tears are healing. Tears are a blessing. Tears are a release. So please, when anyone's crying and they're grieving and going through loss, hug them, tell them it's okay, let it out, let it go, wipe their tears for them. Don't offer them a Kleenex. I know that sounds crazy, but when you're offering them a Kleenex, you're in a way telling them to stop. You know, if you want to wipe the tear, that's fine, but allow those tears to fall. So I hope that helps you guys. But always you can reach out for more information on that. Matthew, oh, Amber Burns, Shelly, get your cute glasses. Okay, that's my daughter in love. Okay, Amber. I'll wear my glasses next week so that Rob doesn't have to work so hard. I have lots of cute glasses. So Matthew, you were able to turn your life around in a huge way. Could you tell us just what you started doing and how it got turned around? And we have amazing pictures for you. So this is all for you, Matthew.
Thank you. Yeah, I know my grandma was close to God, and as I was going through the 12 steps of recovery, you have to make amends with people that you've harmed or hurt. So I had to face all of my, not necessarily enemies, but I had to face all the demons that I'd been burying for so long. I faced all of them, but there was one that I couldn't, and that was my grandma. So what it eventually did is it drew me closer to God and having faith and believing in Christ. And after I graduated high school, I went to college for welding, which is what I do full time every day right now. And becoming a Christian has humbled me and changed my life in so many ways. My family, my kids, my relationship with God has allowed me peace with my grandma. I've had 15 plus years of sobriety. I have three
Congratulations, Matthew.
Thank you.
That's a huge accomplishment.
And now it's now, and here's a catch-22. Now I'm a firefighter. I had to jump through hoops to become a firefighter because of my background. I had to go before a board of people that will decide if I was licensable or not, and they unanimously approved me.
Well, we forgot to say you went to jail. We left that out.
Yeah,
did you say it?
No, I didn't say
yeah,
it.
we forgot. We forgot that he went to jail.
Yeah.
So yeah, that changed everything, but he was able to overcome that. So he's became a firefighter. Go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, and I share my story with so many different people. My testimony as far as my faith and how I came to Jesus and how I gave my life and devoted to be a Christian in every facet. And I mean, just so many things have played a part in changing my life. But the biggest thing is having faith in something supernatural. We're all natural. There is supernatural, and you can't get through life without having faith in something, because you can't always handle it. And for me, letting go of all of my feelings that I've kept inside for so many years, because who wants to hear them? Everybody has problems. I had a way to release that with him, and pray and work through Bible studies and work with other people. Believe it or not, speaking to people and sharing my story, I relate with a lot of people. And I get emotional because the pain is real and it doesn't go away. Even now, when I think about it back then, I mean, like, the people I ran away from, all they were doing is what all of you do. I just wasn't ready to accept it. And so many things have helped me in my life change, and faith in Christ is a big one.
He is a healer, that's for sure. I know for me, that's how I've been able to heal from my childhood as well, and learn to forgive myself. And it's still hard, right, Matthew, to forgive ourselves. We want to tend to remind God of what we've done, and we forget that once we've asked his forgiveness, he literally does not know what you're talking about anymore, because it's done. Yep. So, but Matthew, now you are married. Yep. You are a firefighter. You do welding, right? You yep. have 3 beautiful babies. Do we have those pictures, Rob, of his babies and his beautiful wife? You went to college. You graduated high school. Look at those cuties.
Those girls are my pride and joy.
Of course they are, Matthew. And I bet you are an amazing father. And you know what we have to say? Who broke the cycle, Matthew?
Foster parents.
Matthew, foster parents helped you, yes, but you did the work.
Yeah.
You make me cry because you didn't recognize yourself. Matthew, you did the work. Yeah. You're a survivor.
I am.
Don't forget that. You broke the cycle. You had people that helped you, and we're so grateful for the recognition, but don't you forget that you're a survivor and you broke the cycle. You had choices, and you chose to heal. And now look what your family has become. Look what you have, because you fought for it, right? So don't forget that. Pat yourself on the back. Yay, Matthew. We're so proud of you, Matthew. And I want to ask everybody, do you guys have any other questions for him? Anybody? Trying to read the teeny tiny writing. Matthew, is there anything you want to say in closing?
I wrote a book. It will be coming out the first part of July. You can follow me, myself, or Rob. I don't know if you can put my email address up or if you have it.
And anybody that wants his book, I'm going to make sure I have it as well on my website. But go ahead, Rob. Okay. And our producer will put his email address in the show description when it goes up. But Matthew's going nowhere. I'm going to make sure he's around, and we're going to utilize his knowledge and his care and love and success and have him on the show. Mark Clark. Let's see, Jessica Tanner. Hi. Aw, you're awesome. And it's work. Yes, it is work. It's work. But gosh, it's beautiful work. We love it. Matthew, we're so grateful that you came today. Do you have any final words that you would like to say before you go?
Thank you for having me, and to all you foster parents that are watching and that will see this over time. Just never give up. Never give up. Keep loving those kids. Keep using the tools you have. Try different avenues. Just break that chain and never give up.
Amen. Thank you. Matthew, I keep wanting to call you Matt because I have friends. I don't know if you go by both, but I don't want to be disrespectful. But
I go by either.
Okay. Matthew, you are just a treasure. Thank you so much. So much. Let's see, Jennifer Washer, big hugs to Matt. Yes, big hugs. You've been a blessing to us all tonight, Matthew. Thanks for having the courage to share your story. Thank you to your sweet grandma for loving you. Thank you to your daddy for fighting for you. And just Matthew, thank you for being the warrior that you are and breaking that cycle and just being the amazing person that you are. You are an honor. You are such an honor to have you tonight. And I look forward to getting to know you better and having you on board with Project Foster Care. So we'll keep in touch. All right.
I'm looking forward to it too. Any way I can help, you know how to reach me.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
To all of you that are tuning in, I'm so glad that you joined us tonight. Make sure to share the episode tonight. Make sure you invite people to Project Foster Care Facebook page. Again, YouTube, please go subscribe to YouTube so that we can get those 1,000 followers there. And be looking for the new website. ProjectFosterCare.com is going to be hitting the web soon here, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. Lots in store. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. And now you guys go be foster care warriors and have a hope-filled week. Until next Thursday. Bye-bye.